tambor y base en la casa. Tira la segunda parte del Mexican. Quiero ver las chicas que se muevan, las nalgas, cambiarse. Del Mexican. Poco latino amor.
Oh yeah. I need some silence up in the house. We gon' play a game. We gon' play a game up in here tonight.
Cambiarse. Poco latino amor. En la casa.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I need some silence up in the house. We gon' play a game up in here tonight.
Del Mexican. Cambiarse. En la casa.
Oh yeah. I need some silence up in the house. We gon' play a game up in here tonight.
El sonido tambor y base en la casa. Cambiarse.
promeni koja se desila u poslednje 2 ili 3 decenije kada je reč o dizajnu i procesu globalizacije istakao da je glavna razlika zapravo u tome što smo pre 2 decenije ili čak i pre samo 1 decenije svi živeli u analognom dobu. Ovoga puta svi smo deo takozvane digitalne realnosti. Iz te osnovne razlike proističu i sve promene koje su neophodne pri procesu dizajniranja i industrijskih proizvoda i svih ostalih aspekata naše stvarnosti. Od Karima Rašida, dizajnera koji je od sopstvenog imena napravio brend, sarađujući sa najvećim svetskim brendovima i pri tome sačuvao tu neophodnu distancu i kritičku svest koja uvek pri stvaranju postavlja ono osnovno i najbitnije pitanje šta je zapravo suštinski smisao svega. Čućete lično kako on doživljava ovu našu današnju temu o dizajnu u procesu nove globalizacije. Gospodin Karim Rašid.
First of all, I have to say I'm so grateful to be here. So I thank Interior magazine for inviting me. Without them, I wouldn't be here on stage. And it's my second time to speak in Belgrade. And the first time was a long time ago. It was, I think, 6 years ago. I spoke for the Belgrade Design Week when it was very young. Anyway, so I'm thrilled to be here. I'm going to talk about a lot of subjects. I'm going to talk about what I call new globalism, which is really how design is changing the world and how design has finally become a public subject, which thrills me because literally 30 years ago, very few people were interested in design. Yet, strangely enough, we, on a daily average, we touch or come in contact or interface or engage roughly 600 objects every day, which is quite amazing, actually. It's amazing that 20, 30, 40 years ago, the media would speak so much about fashion design, architecture, art, painting, other forms of culture, performing arts, etc., but design was almost a given, as if all these objects in our world, all these things in our lives just came from nowhere. But they actually came from people who are relatively creative, and it's a difficult job, as some of you probably know in the audience, because design is really not just about personal self-expression. It's not just about you doing anything you want to do, but it's really about a kind of collaboration, because you're working with investors or developers or manufacturers or engineers or sociologists or marketing people and onward. So it's quite a team to really make something happen. Now, if you can still somehow have some self-expression after all that, then you've retained, in a sense, some sort of integrity about your vision or how you would like to see the world or how you want to kind of change the world. Now, if all of us are touching and physically engaging or experiencing 600 objects a day, then you realize the power you have to either shape a better life or shape a more complex, more stressful life. There's always about 20 years ago, I was in Los Angeles and I saw a philosopher named Jean Baudrillard, and he spoke, he's written several books about this subject, but he always speaks about how the physical objects in our lives can be obstacles in our lives. And I always took that to heart and thought, well, I don't really want to make things that are obstacles. I don't really want to add to the world of consumption unless I can add something that's a contribution, that I can actually elevate some sort of human experience. And so then I think about the kind of social and human experiences of what we do. Now, even though everybody knows this, I will say it again. Design is about working with very contemporary criteria to shape the future. So if one is going to design an apartment building tomorrow, a restaurant, a sports facility, a watch, a mobile phone, anything, it's about working with the contemporary criteria of the moment. And that contemporary criteria is social human behaviors, how we live today, well, how we experience the world today. For example, in this world, I see that we have a kind of what I would call a new casualism, that the human being we are today much more casual than ever before in history. And what I mean by casual is there's less formalities about the way we think, the way we speak, the way we dress, the way we move, our cognition, our posture, everything about us has changed. And we're changing even quicker and quicker, in a way. And you could argue that we have a kind of a newfound freedom, a newfound empowerment with the digital age to be more self-expressive. The digital age is changing things very, very drastically, and it's shifted the way we physically behave, let alone the way we mentally engage others around the world. So you say, okay, well, contemporary criteria then is behavior. I remember years ago when I was teaching at Pratt University in Brooklyn, and I arrived at the school and I saw all the students waiting for me, and they were sitting in their chairs, and they were sitting with their legs spread open and relaxed and lounged, and their whole posture and their whole kind of delivery of their body was completely different to, let's say, if we went back half a century when people sat up very, very straight. So if I design a chair, I wouldn't really think about using the kind of anthropometrics and ergonomics of 50 years ago. It doesn't make sense. Let alone that we as human beings have actually increased in height globally in the last 50 years. So things start to change, and I think it's very important that we address these kind of issues. Okay, I'm done.
Tambori base en la casa.